All right, we are back with yet another episode of LCPtrackers E3 series. This is a virtual interview series where we engage, educate, and empower the construction community. Again, my name is Tanner Sabaco, and I'll be hosting. And today we'll also be talking to LCPtrackers Chief Technology and Information Security Officer, Patrick Conlin. Patrick, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Tanner. I usually like to put a chief in front of both of those. Makes me feel more important. But
I'm glad you're here. You were my sixth choice, but 5 people actually dropped out before you.
Wow, sixth man. Good to be off the bench.
I thought we could talk about cybersecurity today since it's such a hot topic right now. As you know, security threats become more and more prevalent in an increasingly digitized world. You know, people now want to know that the software they're using is secure, especially for a company like LCPtracker that offers cloud-based solutions that are accessed from the web. So.
Yeah, that is right, Tanner. It is the reason they hired me, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger concern today, and rightfully so.
Well, before we dive a little bit deeper into security, why don't we first just tackle the fundamentals for those who may not exactly understand what the cloud is? Maybe you can kind of describe what exactly is it and why do we use it?
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about the cloud and cloud computing, really what we're talking about is the fact that these providers of cloud computing, like Microsoft with Azure, and like Amazon with AWS, and like Google with their Google Compute platform, what they're doing is they're putting together these massive data centers made up of thousands and thousands of individual computers, and likewise for the storage, the network equipment, all of that at a really tremendous scale, which means that the failure of any one of those individual components no longer has very much of an impact at all. In fact, has no impact almost 100% of the time. So what the cloud does is it gives us just a tremendous amount of redundancy and resiliency in the way that we provide our applications to our customers.
Gotcha. So Patrick, clearly all this stuff kind of comes second nature to you. So quick side tangent. How long have you been working with information system security, and what kind of experiences do you bring to the table?
Yeah, for sure. So over the course of my career, I've worked on both sides of this cat and mouse game. I've worked. We usually talk about the defense side as being the blue team, and the offense side being the red team. So the red team is the hackers, and the blue team is the defenders. I've worked for companies on the blue team side, defending networks, defending data, and then most recently, prior to joining LCPtracker, I was for about 7 years founded and ran an information security consulting practice where I worked on the red team side, and my teams would actively try to hack into other people's networks and do reverse engineering of security products to find vulnerabilities and flaws. So I know what it means to take security seriously, and I bring that experience to the table when I guide the development of our systems and processes here at LCPtracker.
Gotcha, Patrick. Let's shift gears for just a minute. I'm curious, how would you say the digital landscape has evolved over the past few years in response to changing security threats?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tanner. I have to say that the biggest shift that I've seen over the course of my career is organized crime has become aware of the fact that they can make money in cybersecurity, and that's a big change from where things were when I started in information security, where it was really the equivalent of joyriding and graffiti, where hackers were hacking into systems just to see what they could do, just to have fun, or because they wanted to take your website and replace your pictures with pictures of something they thought was funny. And it's only built up from there. So now we are where we are today, where it's hardly a day goes by you don't hear about some ransomware attack where systems have been shut down or data has been encrypted, and and some criminal organization is demanding millions of dollars to decrypt the data.
And how are the software companies responding to this?
The way that companies in general are responding to this is honestly by taking cybersecurity seriously. And that has really been gratifying to me, because in the beginning part of my career, I was trying to convince people that this was important, and people didn't really necessarily think that it was. But now it's really shifted, where the importance of having a good information security practice is recognized.
I'm sure that it's a vast web of different protection of levels of protection, but how does everything kind of come together? What do you guys focus on?
Yeah, sure. So the number one thing to focus on is what we would usually call defense in depth, and that is this idea that you can't rely on a single protective measure. You have to have layer upon layer upon layer of protective measure. It's very similar to what I was saying earlier about the cloud, where really what you need is redundancy. You need to know that if something gets by one of your measures, there's another measure in place.
You know, I thought maybe we can rein this in just a little bit, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on what advantages does a company like LCPtracker have in resisting these kind of threats and ultimately keeping our clients as well as their contractors' information secure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do something like this is a really good way of closing the loop on this. We started with your question about what is the cloud, and now I can tell you in response to this question that one of the ways that we really level up our security posture is by utilizing Microsoft's Azure cloud platform. So we get to leverage all of that security and engineering expertise. We get to rely on Microsoft for things like the physical security of their data centers. They can implement practices and procedures that are at a level of sophistication that no other organization, frankly, can put in place. And we are in the midst right now of getting our SOC 2 Type 2 certification. That is the gold standard for information security. And we're able to do that in large part because we host our application and our data in Azure. The other thing that's great for us is that because we are a SaaS product, because we do not ask our customers to install software on their computers to use our product, that gives our users a big advantage, because we're not introducing new vulnerabilities to their computer systems by installing software on their computers. And then we also get to continuously update our product and deliver those updates to our customers immediately.
I said this before, but it is a lot to unpack. I think you just shed a whole bunch of light on this, actually, not only for myself, but for a lot of people. This has been great talking to you. I appreciate you coming on
Of
talking
course.
with us today.
Always good to see you, Tanner.
Always good to see you too. And that's pretty much all we have today for our next this episode of our E3 series. Stay tuned for our next one coming up, and we'll see you all later. Thanks again, Patrick.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.